You are one of the organizers in Estonia for the Black Nights film market, and you're setting up several things in Estonia. Would you introduce yourself and give us a brief overview of what is happening in Estonia during this market?
Hello, my name is Sten Saluveer. I'm one of the organizers of the Industry Days that's been taking place now on the 15th edition of the Silent Black Nights Film Festival. Indeed, it's been a great year. I would say that probably one of the most successful years for the festival. As a matter of fact, after Tiina Lokk, who's our festival director, and Helmut Jänes, who is the chief programmer, then I'm actually the guy who's like sort of the third oldest veteran in the business. So it's been a great pleasure of seeing the festival turning from, I would say, a rather small but high quality programming event into a real player, I would say, in this kind of part of the world. And we have so many different things, and I would say quite revolutionary things going on here for Estonia, and I would say for the world as well. So the key things which are going on, I would say, is the Industry Day itself, because as we see all over the world, well, perhaps excluding Hollywood, we see that film policy and the relationship between filmmakers, the public sector, the governments, the regions as such need to be rethought. And that's why we put together the Industry Days, to see really, and to kind of discuss between different people what would be, for example, a successful film policy at all. Would it be like commercial? Would it support-based? What are the success stories and what are the failures? So we've had a very diverse range of experiences, from, I would say, the miracle of South Korea, which in 1991-5, after the abolition of the censorship law, has done a tremendous rise from ashes to, I would say, the most important players in sort of Southeast Asia, but the world as well, with its Busan Film Festival co-production initiatives and kind of the model of the integration of the state as well as the filmmaking community at large. At the same time, we would have another experiences from like smaller countries, such as Ireland, or as a matter of fact of Iceland, to really give a diversified picture. And if you would say that in Estonia or in anywhere actually, these post-CIS countries, that, well, the argument is that we are so small and we are so behind and we don't have the infrastructure and such. So the clear message that actually has came from all these several countries is that, well, be sure of your kind of capabilities, be sure to communicate your strengths, and things can happen. So it's been a very strong message, I think, to our government sector as well as to export sector, saying that film and all these kind of ancillary products related to film, such as tourism or merchandise or DVDs or whatever, it can be really a business. And also, especially, I think one of the most helpful comments was from Tim Cagney of BFI, saying that we should also value the experience. So I think that instead of like obsessing ourselves too much with the box office, and I would say sort of the creative part of the filmmaking, I think we should also recognize that there has been a great learning process, which finally starts paying some things. Well, for example, like the whole 3D system devised for the great filmmaker Werner Herzog for his documentary Cave of Forgotten Dreams that was playing in the festival. It was actually done in Estonia. So I think Estonia has a strong potential to kind of work on the industry and kind of find its position. Of course, the other things which have taken place here are discussions about co-productions and the role. And I think it's also very important, because if Estonia doesn't have the force of establishing itself through financial force or creative force, I think our greatest asset is actually sort of the kind of hierarchy-free system, which means that if you have a problem, you can talk to a minister, you can talk to, for a creative director, and so on. And instead of fragmentation, I would call it integration. So due to a rather great location between sort of the CIS territories in the Western Europe, but I would actually more emphasis also Estonia's sort of position as the location for the most direct flights to Asia through Helsinki. I think we have a very, very great asset of of bringing together this sort of the capital and the new talent of Asia, as well as this creative freedom of this area. So many interesting aspects there as well. Now, if we move to some concrete things, then many big news are going to be launched and things are going to happen next year. Well, hopefully, maybe we'll have tax credit. Who knows? But things are going towards that. Also, something that we devised ourselves, it's called the Black Market Online, which is a cloud-based content management and distribution platform for the film industry. It's been taken off very nicely. We have new clients from Romania to Iceland to Germany to the Baltic countries, and the core idea there is that what we see is that there are so many online platforms which focus on distribution, like the video or the film asset being the main thing. But however, what we found out that instead of film might be only 10% of the final thing. It's kind of the goal where you should be thriving for. But what was lacking was really a tool that would actually help to produce, to maintain and communicate these films and extend the life cycle. So instead we came up with a solution that is a kind of a sky full of different small clouds, of film clouds in the region, so to speak, of different countries, of different post-production companies, production companies, festivals and such. And whilst they've been all interlinked together, then first of all we formed really a strong regional force compared to other regions, let's say the old Europe or the Balkans or the Middle Eastern Europe, such as Czechoslovakia, Poland, and so on. As well as we can flip projects and extend the projects with our own region. So this is a great concept which I think nobody has really thought of, and we see that it's kind of going to hopefully sell as hot bread. Positive steps are being taken there as well. And lastly, of course, I would say that things which have happened is, or I would say the most imminent result is that the Industry Days and the festival this year has left a lot of inspiration. And I think is that just like being here and maybe not traveling too much, you would kind of have this capturing effect and of desperation that what could we do? But instead, we've managed to inspire people from the governmental sector, from the legislative sector, as well as the filmmaking community. So it's been a wonderful experience, and we are really looking forward to do something like this for the next year.
Thank you very much, Sten. After talking to a lot of people, interviewing a lot of guests who have come here, they seem to be impressed, they seem to be friendly, they want to work with us. How are you able to take all that information that you have got and all of that and put it into work?
Well, we're going to think about it next week. But I think a very great motivation also for us is that I think that if we don't have something to offer, then these people wouldn't come. I mean, in the world there are too many red carpets and too many five-star hotels and too much champagne and like limousines and press and so on. And I think the unique fact about the Black Nights Film Festival and Estonia as such is that, I mean, we can't be very, we're not big or posh or anything, but I think we're very honest, which is the one thing, and we really ask people to share their experiences, and helping others as a human being is an important thing. Although we are competitors in one situation, we might need each other in another situation. Another thing which is really important, I think, why these people have been here. I mean, one of my really kind of old-time heroes. About 10 years ago, I used to read this blog of one of the few writers in Japanese cinema, Jason Gray, who's a correspondent for my favorite trade magazine, Screen International. Well, now he's here, as well as Reimas Platanovi-Ragun, who is the producer of Pennakat and Orang's films. He works for several film festivals and so on. So I think what we have offered these people is kind of, as I said, honesty, but as well as our hospitality. So what we cannot really compensate with money, we can kind of compensate with the warmness of our heart, good programming and locations and so on. So yes, indeed, a lot of information has been said here, but I think we've been so much electrified by the speeches that it's our own motivation to take it and go from there. And I think everybody got, whatever the message was, but got their share of the message, and we are really going to establish some kind of certain initiatives and plans to really make these things happen. I would say two things. as kind of briefly referred before, well, Estonia is a country of Skype. And I mean, although Skype isn't really playing a role in the film business, it has really created a very certain, I would say, atmosphere of innovation. So the two important things about, I would say, in Estonia is, first of all, this sort of very interesting merger of technology and creativity, which is kind of pervasive in all different parts of the society, as well as the film culture as well. And secondly, really, like the openness and the kind of dynamic sort of dynamism that we can offer. I mean, in Estonia, literally, I would say anything is possible. So I'm not sure if it's going to be like 50 like 3D rigs in Lord of the Rings, but I mean, theoretically, things can be taken to do that without any kind of political obligations, connotations, or worries. And I think this kind of ultimate flexibility and the motivation for really people to make a difference, contribute and engage in international co-production is an asset. I mean, we haven't like reached the sort of warm stability of Germany or any of the or UK or any of the big countries. People are motivated. We have skills, we have technology, and we have the very open mindset. And I think this is something spectacular about Estonia.